We start this week's outing in Cape Town, South Africa. Here, beyond the jagged skyline, lies the brainchild of one of the most successful coaches in modern cricket history. The Gary Kirsten Academy is set within the breathtaking beauty of Constantia, a wine-producing suburb of Cape Town. We're here to meet the man of which the academy bears its name, Gary Kirsten.
It was a dream of mine to be able to set up an academy and to be able to work with players from around the world, not only locally but from around the world, to come and enjoy the facilities that we have here.
As if to highlight the international nature of the academy, we arrived at the same time as a group of players from India. It is perhaps not so surprising that his name has such a global reach. Having coached 2 international teams to the top of the game, his reputation is enormous.
I never thought initially that I would go into coaching, to be honest with you. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I think always in the back of my mind, I think of the privilege that I had playing for South Africa. I was one of the first group of players to be playing for our country after our isolation years, and I just felt that I had a lot to offer younger players coming through in terms of our international experiences.
The Kirstens have a strong cricketing tradition. Gary's half-brother Peter played for South Africa during the early 90s. Gary joined him in the national setup in 1993. During his 11-year international career, he starred for the Proteas with the bat, notching up some impressive records, including scoring a ton against all Test-playing nations.
To have ended up playing 100 Tests for my country when, at one point I don't think I even expected to play 1 Test. It was certainly for me great to have been able to achieve that. I think what I've really enjoyed about it, and this is something my dad taught me, he said, you'll always enjoy playing a team sport more than you will in an individual sport. And it was a great piece of learning for me because cricket has done just that.
It was this sense of togetherness that Gary brought to his first coaching job and perhaps his most high-profile appointment, national coach of India.
To be given this job was a massive privilege and also a huge responsibility, as we know. The expectation on the Indian team is sometimes overbearing, but I just was looking forward to the experience and to say to myself that I could offer some value to those players.
He arrived in 2009 to be greeted by a team full of undoubted talent but lacking direction. Even for a first-time coach, he knew instinctively what was needed.
When I started with the Indian team, I decided as a new coach to get everyone of the players in on a one-on-one and ask them, what their expectations of me as a coach. And I remember when Sachin walked into the room and I was quite sort of nervous about it because I had just arrived with the Indian team. And I asked him, and the whole meeting lasted about 90 seconds because he said, Gary, it's simple, I just want you to be my friend.
This was the catalyst for the growth of India as a team under him. He became a mentor to them, developing a bond that was to strengthen over the years that followed.
I guess always the biggest challenge for any team is, do you play to your value system and do you play to the culture that you've set up within your team? And that is something that we always checked in on as a team to make sure that we weren't compromising on that.
The talent that was always in abundance began to flourish, culminating in the team winning the ICC Cricket World Cup in 2011, a feat not achieved since 1983.
India lift the World Cup after 28 years.
Despite this success, Gary decided to move on. Lucrative offers arrived, but he turned them down, opting to be closer to home and his young family. India's loss was to be South Africa's gain as he was installed as the Proteas head coach. He brought with him the same man management skills that served him so well on the subcontinent.
Gary is just what he's brought to the table for us. He's brought a really nice in terms of human beings. We've all got to look at ourselves and tell me where we want to go in life and as human beings, and that's really helped our cricket as well. We see ourselves to be good people first, and then when it comes to the cricket field, we've got a huge amount of humility amongst our team.
I think he understands us as players and what we go through day in and day out, not only on the field but off the field, and I think that has been key for us in the success we've had over the last 2 years.
Gary's ability to get his charges to pull in one direction has seen the Proteas raise their game, especially in the longest format, becoming the #1 ranked Test side in the Reliance ICC Test Championship, a position they've held on to for over 12 months. Now retired from coaching, he's had time to reflect on the dynamics of the two teams.
Two very different cultures, and one would have thought that you just do it the same way, but absolutely not. I think Indians play the game with a huge amount of flair. They play, they like to take the game on, and they like to play it aggressively. And I think as a South African, I might have brought in some more structure into the way they went about their preparation. Certainly from a South African context, it's maybe the opposite, where I really encourage the guys as much as possible to play as freely as possible, to have less structure and to go out and to take it on a little bit more.
I want to be trying to get my back foot.
Of all his strategic and tactical thinking, it's his prowess at identifying the thread that connects individuals to make them a team that has served Gary so well. In fact, he disputes the traditional meaning of what it is to be a coach.
If someone said to me, you were coaching some of the greatest players in the world, I will tell you no, because we spend very little time on the nuts and bolts of their technique. I think there was more focus on what their strategies and their game plans were, and I think I played a role in managing that. Equally, you play an important role in terms of the culture of the team. You are the gatekeeper of that culture. You need to make sure that culture is foolproof, that it can go through some really testing times, it can go through pressurized times, and it certainly, I felt my responsibility as the coach to monitor that culture in terms of how we went about our business.
Whether you choose to call him coach, mentor or friend, Gary Kirsten's loss to international cricket may well be to the advantage of those who walk through his door, as he continues to pass on his own unique brand of cricket wisdom.